So originally I was going to get a coffee pot and then program it to go off every morning at a certain time, like 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning. That way the coffee would be ready by the time I woke up. Then I was thinking they already have that built into most coffee pots. So I figured we'd do something more like a voice activated coffee pot instead.
Okay, finally got this stupid thing open. As you can see, it's got a little power button down here, and it's got the cord just to plug it in, but that's basically all that's on this. So take that off, make sure, there's not any electronics on the top of it, so I'll probably just figure out how to take the bottom off of this thing and take a look at the inside. All right, so I got that off, and this is what it looks like on the underside. So you can see that the button is hooked up here. I can't tell if there's like a relay that goes to the heating element or if it's just hooked straight up to the power. If it is hooked straight up to the power, what I might end up having to do is put it where this thing is on all the time, and then hook it up to like a relay or something. That way, whenever I have a separate like on switch, and then that will tell that'll basically allow current to throw through this constantly open switch. So basically, this switch is going to be redundant after I'm done with this, since there's no like relay or anything, and there's no other way for me to hook it up. So I have these little relays that I got on the internet, and this is actually 2 relays. There's a little seam down the middle of it. You can just break them off. So I'm going to use one of these, and then that'll let me turn my 5-volt signal from the little Arduino I got into the 110 volts from the wall. I just got this little Arduino from a kit I have a couple more of these, like just regular Arduinos, but this comes from a kit. You can get the whole kit for like, I don't remember, maybe like $30 or something, and it's got like a whole bunch of stuff that you can use just to get started, like playing around with some stuff. But yeah, I'm just gonna use this, and so we'll see how it goes. So these little bits right here, I'm gonna pull those off completely. Unfortunately, my cable strippers are too big to take care of this, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to use a knife or the small ones that I got and just make it work. Okay, so I think I finally got this wired up. I got the relay all hooked up. This is gonna be plugged into the wall. Yeah, pretty sure this is right. I'm gonna have to insulate that, make sure it's not sticking out. Don't want to shock myself. So yeah, and then we'll get the next part hooked up, go right to the programming and use a little breadboard, make sure this thing works. Okay, so just to demonstrate how this works, I've hooked up the Arduino to the relay. I have the red one from the 5-volt source on the Arduino, and the white is going to be the ground. And so right now I just have this hooked up to the 3.5-volt signal. So whenever you touch this to that middle one, it turns on. You can hear that little switch. It turns on the relay. So basically I can have any control, whether it be a button like it was on the coffee pot, it can be a Bluetooth module, an IR sensor, I can do some sort of audio recording, something like that, build some logic into it. That way, whenever some condition happens, we can just write a high signal to whatever pin we want, and that'll turn on our relay. And then as long as that's on, the coffee pot will be on. So we could say after so long, turn the coffee pot off because we won't want it to be on indefinitely. But I think this is a $10 coffee pot, and I'm like 90% sure it wasn't going to turn off anyway unless you hit the off button. So anyway. All right, so I've got this little voice recognition chip here. I had to solder in these little connections since it didn't come with them. So those are on there. I think I might have done it backwards, but it doesn't really matter that much. And then it's got this little microphone that plugs into the chip as well. So we'll get this hooked up and we'll train it to recognize my voice whenever I say coffee. And basically when I say coffee, I just want the coffee pot to turn on and make a cup of coffee. All right, so I've got this little circuit built up with the Arduino. All of these pins are going to, I got a couple of power pins right here. So one of them's the power, one goes to the ground. And then the other two pins are for the code. So they're hooked up to pins 2 and 3. And yeah, we'll look at the code and see how that works. And then basically whenever the voice recognition software hears the word coffee, it'll write a high signal to this pin number, I think it's pin number 8. And then that will trigger this and it'll turn on the LED, and then we'll hook up these pins to our relay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take a look at the code. So this is the Arduino file. I went on the website for the Elec House voice recognition module and pulled this Arduino library. So you just scroll down here and you can take a look at the code, but you can see it's using pins 2 and 3 here for RX and TX. And then I can just show you how I'm going to train this real quick. So basically I just need to make sure that my Arduino is hooked up, which I don't have. Let me plug it in real quick. Okay, so Arduino is plugged in, so make sure it's on the right. It's an Arduino Uno on COM3, perfect. And then we can go ahead and upload this. And this is the train. So basically how you access this file is once you would go to, I think it's Sketch, include library, and once you download the zip file from their website, you hit add zip library, pick that zip file, and then once that gets loaded in, you go to File, Examples, and it'll be down here in the voice recognition. And then this one that we're looking at is just this VR sample train right here. So once you upload it, like I just did, you go to the serial monitor. I'm hitting Control-Shift-M. It'll pull up the serial monitor over here. And then this gives you a series of instructions that you can use to train the voice recognition module. So the first thing that you would do is type in train. Whoops, got my caps lock on. So I hit train and then the index of the recording that I'm trying to train. So I mean, it kind of shows you that right here. So I'll go ahead and hit enter, and it'll walk me through instructions on how to do it as soon as I hit enter. So we'll go ahead. Coffee. 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 So you can see that it failed once on the training. So it said, okay, it doesn't match. So basically what it does is it goes through each one, each time I say the word coffee, and then it'll see if it matches the previous one. And so it'll go until it gets not two consecutive matches, but 2 matches of the same audio clip. And then it'll use that for that particular index. Now, so my thoughts on this were, well, if I accidentally say coffee a little different, I enunciate it differently each time, I want to train multiple indices. That way, if I say it a different way, I can say it 2 or 3 different ways, and the software will still recognize that, it's supposed to turn on the relay. So I'm going to try this again, except I'm going to do train 1, hit enter. Coffee. Coffee. Okay, and that one was pretty easy. Let's try another one. We'll do train 2. Coffee. Coffee. There we go. So
Now, if I go back and I hit load, and we'll load in all of the ones that I just did, and it'll recognize whenever I say a certain one. So, coffee, 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 coffee. So you can see that it's every time I say coffee, it recognizes a different index for which I trained the algorithm. So anyway, now that this has been trained, we can go ahead and close this out. We'll just save that. Well, we don't have to save it, but anyway, now that it's been trained, we can go over to, I have another one called, okay, so you would basically go to, oh crap, go to File, where was it before? Okay, File, Examples, and then I have Voice Recognition, and then it's going to be this one that says Control LED. I think I already have this file open somewhere, so let me find, oh, it's right here. I'm dumb. Okay. So on a practice round, I had trained this just exactly how I just showed. And then I came up here and I said, okay, will you define, I forget what this was replaced with. I think it was like turn on or turn off or something. But I basically replaced it with my own thing. And then I did coffee 0, coffee 2, or sorry, coffee 1. And then I have a third one in there, so we'll just try it like this. So the index for this one is 2. And then we'll scroll down here to where it checks for which one you're using. There's a couple of things we're going to have to change. So there's you can see there's an if statement for each one. So basically I'm going to copy this, add in another one for coffee 3, which I did not change. Let me fix that real quick. So coffee 3. All right, now go down here to this last bit, and you can see there's a switch statement. So the switch statement goes for each, it checks for different cases, and then for each case it performs a different function. In my case, I just want it to turn on the LED anytime it recognizes any one of those 3 indexes that I just trained. So I'll just copy that, boom, paste. Okay, if that looks nice, and we'll just call this one coffee 3. So now if I upload this, well, I'll upload this and we will see how this works on the Arduino. Okay, so you can see I got this little setup here. We're just going to test and see if my voice recognition training actually works. So if I did, well, actually, I have the code right here. I forgot to show this a while ago, but basically, it writes a high signal to LED pin 8. So I have the pin hooked up to this LED. So whenever I say coffee, it should turn on. So let's try this. Sometimes it's not perfect. So, even if I say coffee, it may not turn on it right away. Coffee. Coffee. There we go. So you can see that it's working. It didn't work the first try, but it's a cheap voice recognition module, so you can only expect so much from it. But it works, so if I start yelling coffee at it a bunch, it'll make me a pot of coffee, so we'll go from there. All right, so I got all this stuff hooked up. Got the pins hooked up to the relay. So now that we have all of this programmed, I went ahead and just hooked up the Arduino to a 9-volt battery and to the coffee pot. Just plug this in real quick. And then see how this goes. So whenever I say coffee, it turns on and starts brewing me some coffee. And I don't think I put water in here, so. Should start making coffee. fantastic. So now I think that I'm going to take all of this and kind of condense it and consolidate it into like a little package or something, and then glue it to the back of the coffee pot, like somewhere right here. And then that way it'll look a little more sleek and you wouldn't be able to notice. So whenever I show people my $10 coffee pot and say it's voice activated, they'll be like, what? So yep, that'll be the next part. If you like these kind of videos where we're just playing around with stuff, building stuff, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel, because I want to do more stuff like this and just kind of like tinker around with random stuff. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys.